Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for November 25th through December 2nd, 2024. Well, we have felt a shift of energy over the last few days with the sun moving into the sign of Sagittarius, bringing us up out of the dark season and back into the light. The Sagittarius energy is about taking the deep dive of Scorpio and bringing it into meaning. So Sagittarius is about seeing the bigger picture of things, and we've had Mercury now in Sagittarius getting ready to take a retrograde. That happens tomorrow, November 26th, Mercury turning retrograde at 22 degrees of Sag. So now that the sun has joined Mercury in Sagittarius, we're feeling that Sagittarius energy. And Mercury's retrograde will go from 22 degrees Sag back to 6 degrees. So if you have any planets in the mutable signs of those degrees, this is for you especially. And it is a call to action with the fire signs activating. We've got a grand fire trine forming in the sky, speaking to reigniting the creative fires within. And not just the creative fires. If we're talking about the creative fires, we're talking about our access in our own body to source energy, to creation source. We've been sold down the river with these entities who have stolen our advanced technology and history, reset our society time and time again. And so we are in a narcissistic, parasitic reality where we think that what we need needs to come from outside of us. But the truth is that we are hooked up to source like a battery. And this is free energy. We are free energy. And everything is speaking to this, that we get back. So first of all, the reason why we haven't owned this power of our creation power is because we were tricked into thinking it wasn't ours to have, or we couldn't handle it. Or that it just wasn't even there at all, This has been the means of control of the society over time with these entities that have sought to keep human evolution from moving forward. They've used the method of suppression. And you can see this everywhere in our world, how suppressed we are. And then we went to the height of this suppression when we went ahead and put masks on when they told us to put the masks on, even though the science doesn't back up that that's healthy for you. And so humanity has submitted to these external powers and controls, and they don't even know that, we've been tricked into thinking that we don't even have access. This energy isn't even there. We don't have access to it. And so every day right now is about a fight to take back our organic earth, our energy. And if you're paying attention, you're open, you're ready, you're resonant, you're doing the work, you're ready to receive. This is a message from the mother. It is ready to flood in this awakening and activation of the creative forces within. So these creation forces allow us to co-create new earth. We're already working on it. We know this. We have been throughout the beginning. We have that original picture of what the earth wanted to become. Now, this energy is really important because the Sagittarius, Mercury retrograde in Sag, is about that bigger picture. The dream, the quest. What are we really doing here? And Sagittarius wants to climb to the top of the mountain, wants to go to the edge, to the sea, to look out at the horizon and see what's possible. Sagittarius is the holder of the dream, the great quest, and the bigger picture of what it is we're doing here. So that means that this retrograde, Mercury retrograde in Sag, could give us a really great, bigger perspective. And that's kind of the message. It's like, go big or go home with this grand fire trine and the Sagittarius new moon happening this week. So we'll talk all that through, but let's talk about this activating these creative fires. And that that is also connected to the dream, the vision of the original vision of what Earth wants to become. So this is our ideal timeline. We could also call it the Christ consciousness timeline. So everything is saying that we are reactivating and taking back this Christ consciousness timeline in its entirety. It's kind of like we've had access to aspects, tiny little bits of this reality, enough to just kind of keep it in our consciousness. But we're saying, no, the Christ consciousness timeline, our ideal timeline as evolving spiritual beings, is landing home right now. We're claiming it in its entirety. Full picture. Now, that's kind of the message of this grand fire trine and this activation. It's that how can we get the full picture and the full experience and the entirety if we're not whole and complete, if we're still in suppression. Okay, so everything has been, we have been completely oppressed on every level in our being, because that's the only way that the control forces could make expression into something bad. So what happens, let's just talk about it as far as health. When we go and a lot of times get Western medical treatments, they're very suppressive and it makes the symptoms worse. It makes the disease go deeper in the body and brings out other symptoms. And they'll say, oh, that's not related. And then you need another drug to deal with those symptoms, right? So that's suppression. Literally, if you use a cortisone cream on a skin rash, it's telling your body that you don't want to hear that message of what your body's telling you. And it's going deeper into the organs, damaging the liver. Okay, so this is suppression. So then when you go and you get true healing, true health, you're going to have to go through an unwinding process of all that suppression. And the deal is that we've been so suppressed because, get this, when the persecution of the healing forces and the healers happened throughout the Piscean age, the way that happened was that they made suppression, they made healing the enemy because of suppression. Because when you come out of suppression, there's an expression. And it's often not pretty. It's called a healing crisis. So they made people scared of healing and scared of the magic and scared of, that this creation force that's healing, moving through our body, through our world, was something wrong, bad, dangerous, evil. See, they could only do that by keeping us in suppression. And no wonder it was the witches that were being burned because it was the feminine being suppressed. And even the healers in male bodies, it's the feminine arts. So we are all trying to find, whether we're in a male or female body, it's not about men and women. It's about masculine and feminine within us and in our world. So in our body, we have to start listening to the feminine, which is our emotions, our intuition, our body itself. Our body is her body. And that's why we've just been in suppression. It's like, oh, it's okay. Poison, rape, pillage, our Mother Earth, it's okay. Mother Earth, and we know this, has an amazing regenerative healing power. Is it time to unleash this through our body? It's so powerful. And this is the self-correcting force that brings all back into balance. But if it's really out of balance and you unleash that self-correcting force, like in homeopathy, if you had maybe too low or too high of a potency, but it was like triggering a very powerful healing response, it could have quite an expression of symptoms where that rash is going to flare up and come out in 2 days and be gone forever. And that hereditary illness and all of that can leave at the same time. This is what's happening right now. So this is the energy we're feeling, because Mercury retrograde will be turning tomorrow on the 26th. That is at 22, has made it to as far as it's going to make it so far in Sag. 22 degrees, very powerful number, a message for us. It's a master builder number. It's saying we are so much more than what they've told us. We have levitation. Like, we know how to, this is the technologies we're talking about. and light body and abilities beyond what we can imagine. So this is what's about to be unveiled. It speaks a lot to the Atlantean time, which was also an Aquarian age, because we know we've got Pluto just moved into Aquarius. So all the message right now in astrology is about what does it mean? What are we doing to move into the Aquarian age? So the Sagittarius energy is really, really important because we're reclaiming that dream, that vision. Like, take a big step back, because guess what? You are that big. And if we're going to come, the message of Jupiter, so Mercury is in Sag, is triggering the Jupiter square Saturn. Epic astrology, generational astrology, timeline marker happening on the 24th and 25th of December. Right? So we're talking Christ consciousness timeline. We're going to get this shit corrected. That's what Jupiter and Saturn is about. It's about trying to bring the old way and the new way together. So their square is like, what's in the way? What's got to shift? What's got to change? And Jupiter is in Gemini. Retrograde will be retrograde for this square. So Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, Saturn direct in Pisces. Saturn's ready to move forward on a new story of the Piscean age. But Jupiter in Gemini says not so fast. We're not going to slip over this one. If we don't tell the truth about this, we will end up in the exact same situation, completely controlled humanity, right? It's like we have to understand the full truth of how our technologies and advancement was stolen from us. It's ours. We deserve it. We've already worked with it. We can fully handle it. We are more advanced in our consciousness than those forces that manipulated our power away from us. But is that what this whole evolution has been about? I mean, if we're powerful beings, but when we get to Earth realm, we lose our shit, and we fall apart and we get manipulated, then see how we are graduating Earth realm, like in this way of taking it to the next level. And because now we can no longer be manipulated on any level. And that's why so many of us have had to go through so much manipulation. And it's okay, because you made it through. You're here. You did not let go of your soul, and you're not going to let go of your soul. Hold fast to that. You've earned that from many lifetimes and so much hard work. And it's yours to enjoy the abundance of. And that's the shift that we're in. As we move into the Aquarian age, we were told that in order to get that golden age that is a potential of the Aquarian age, we've got to have our spiritual autonomy, where we're not leaking our energy out to lower forces. And this is a tricky one. A lot of very spiritual people who think they really have their ducks in a row are completely being fed upon parasitically. Who knows? Maybe all of us. When do we say no to the parasitic grid? That it's almost like this deep subconscious program that's, if you're going to generate and access creation energy in your body, then you have to pay the piper. They have to siphon off just enough so you can never get all the way to enlightenment. So as spiritual beings, advanced spiritual beings in human form right now, it's our responsibility to take back our chakras and our earth, our energy field, which is our earth. And so that's the Owning Your Energetic Field course. It's about let's come into full consciousness of where our energy is going. If we're scared of our power and we're subconsciously in fear over whether or not we can handle it, then we will leak it out. And we can't do it because leaking it out is holding the false matrix. So it's very, very powerful, this whole energy because we're looking at a tidal wave of expression with that Jupiter in Gemini and in square to Saturn in Pisces. So that's the 24th and the 25th of December, speaking to this activation of the Christ consciousness timeline, remembering that when Yeshua was born in the beginning of the Piscean age, that was they said that the Christmas star was Jupiter and Saturn coming together for 3 conjunctions, and Jupiter and Saturn coming together for the greatest conjunction, which is when it happens in Aries, and moving from the mutable signs into the cardinal signs, the new start of the whole wheel of the whole zodiac, 2,000-year cycle. So we're basically those conjunctions happened in the signs of the fishes and the ram, and this is just a really important message for us because we have this Mercury retrograde in Sag, Mars retrograde in Leo, Cancer. Then we got a Venus and a Mercury retrograde at the same time in March and April. And that is they're both going to go from Aries back into Pisces, back into Aries, over that cusp, the beginning of the zodiac, the rebirth. It's the rebirth of the Christ consciousness timeline. And this time we take it and claim it in its entirety, which is incarnating this energy, this light in our body, literally turning on our light body. And so is that what this grand fire trine is about? I mean, holy crap, because we've got now the sun in Sag, and Mars has been coming into conjunction or trine. Mars is in Leo, getting ready to turn retrograde. So Mars has made it to 5 degrees. We'll make it to 6 degrees this week where he turns retrograde in Leo. So, but at 5 degrees, he's in trine with the North Node now at 4 degrees. So they're in trine at 4 degrees, and then the sun will join and come into trine with Mars and trine with the North Node. And that's on the 26th and the 27th. So we've got the sun in Sag, North Node in Aries, speaking to this new way forward, which is in wholeness, in completion, with our creative energy back intact. That's the Christ consciousness timeline. And then we've got Mercury, so the sun in Sag, Mars and Leo. Mars at the very beginning of Leo. So these are this grand fire trine is happening at the very early degrees of the fire signs. And so that's saying that it's a new fire. It's also a rekindling of an old fire because Mars is turning retrograde. So now we know what the Mars retrograde is about. Rekindling the goddess fires within, in our body, our temple is turning on the fire in our body again. Now, this is the message that the mother said, like, living in a body on me, in my realm with me, in this experience should be ecstatic. You have a direct connection. We are plugged in like a battery. And they convinced us to push it through wires, charge us with interest for our own energy. And it's game over now. We know too much. We know about the Tesla coils. We know about the Tartarian buildings harvesting static electricity. We know about these things. So it's only a matter of time until we have this technological revolution. But then we got the message like, oh, the technology that has been stolen from us, we can't get it back until we, from those scientists from Atlantean times, show up in full expression. So this is the deal with the Gemini, in Jupiter and Gemini coming into the square with Saturn. It's saying that we've got to express, we've got to come out of suppression, and so we cannot take back our world or come into our energy and all that unless we do it in the full expression. We can't part way. We can't shine our light a little bit here. And this is what we're going through. A lot of it'll make sense, I think, as we move into this retrograde season, that it's like a deeply inward time as we get more comfortable with not being able to turn our light down and like holding it, shining it, and being okay with it. That's what this is really about. It's an initiation of those reluctant leaders, with Mars and Leo. That's us expressing. But again, when you come out of expression, when you come out of suppression into expression, there's often a healing crisis, a storm. And that's kind of the energy of the end of December with that Jupiter square Saturn. And now Mercury retrograde is triggering this Jupiter square Saturn, and we'll make this square 3 times. And so that will be the kind of evolution, because the Mercury square has already made the first square that was over the last week or so, a square with Saturn and a square with Jupiter. And then the second one will be at the beginning of December, here coming up next week. And then the final one will be at the end of December. So it's like Mercury is coming into a trigger of the squares, because it's not till our personal planets. Now Mercury retrograde triggering the square. And it's interesting that the third and final trigger of the squares happens during the exact square. And we'll be feeling the exact square of Jupiter square Saturn all the way till the middle of January. So that's kind of our timeline of this chapter. This chapter within the chapters of the retrograde chapter. This retrograde chapter is like 5-6 months of unfolding of the new path in front of you, because now you've reached the mountain to be able to see. Now there's other stuff coming in about this mountain that we're reaching with the Sagittarius energy that's like, it's exhausting. The journey has been exhausting. And it's not until, like, I've been feeling this kind of back and forth every day, a little bit of like, I think we've had a shift. I think we're free. I think we're fun. There's still a lot to clean up, but we're fundamentally free. And then it's like the squeezing comes. It's like our coming out of the activation, healing crisis, coming out of suppression, going back in the patterns, all this dance, But it's not until the things get better in your life. Like if you're going through a traumatic situation, and you're just having to deal, you just have to get through. And it's not until that situation starts to resolve that you can feel the feelings of all you've gone through. So this is a lot of what's going on for us right now, is kind of like healing from the PTSD we've been in, in your level of awareness and what you've gone through in past lives and how it relates to right now. Could have been kept you in the state that you didn't even realize how tense you've been, for how long? Lifetimes? I mean, last couple years, last decade, like Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. And so it's kind of like this holding on for dear life. And we've got to, that's not the vibration that can allow us to receive. And we're like, oh, it's coming next. Then we're creating more of that. They've wanted us stuck in that place. So we have to give a lot of space for the unwinding of the trauma and the PTSD we've gone through. A lot of validation. This is part of the feminine. We're talking to the waters of the earth, trying to feel like how do we heal? What is this energy of the feminine that is where our disconnection? And really, she says, can you just listen to me? Can you just listen to your body, to the symptoms? What is it saying? The skin rash isn't saying put cortisone cream on me and make it go deeper into my organs. And it's saying, hey, there's an issue. There's an imbalance. I want to tell you a message. And the waters want to tell us a message. The waters in our body, our symptoms, our intuitions. Our intuition is going to be getting off the charts. Like, get ready for that. That might be part of this retrograde season, is getting, like, if you haven't been actively kind of used to and working with your intuitive faculties and they're turning on. And that's part of the Owning Your Energetic Field course, is a distilled version of my intuitive training. So if you're feeling that, that's how to protect yourself and work with your intuitive faculties. And so it's like we're just turning on like light bulbs. Nothing can stop it. And then what do you say? Oh, So we still need to push that electricity through those wires. Take it all down. Take it all down. Windmills, bullshit. Take it down. Mother says, take it down. Enough of your cold, hard world. Let's create energy together through reciprocity. Okay, so part of the energy of suppression and scarcity and trauma and poverty that they've kept us in has and created a parasitic narcissistic reality where we're talking about where it seems that whatever you need in your life, you have to get from outside of you. And particularly the love and energy we want from each other. This is a huge thing with this Black Moon Lilith South Node. Where are we still living out those old paradigms of relationships where we want to get something for what we give? It's so gross what we've been in through stealing our technology and our free energy. That's like keeping us in scarcity, poverty, and the scarcity and poverty is within. Because when you feel yourself deeply connected to the mother and the mother energy and the field of Mother Earth up and around you, and that deep true connection, which we felt in the last activation, go get that, the Taurus full moon activation, then you can't want. Everything is there. I mean, how do these animals and birds survive sub-zero temperatures? Do we not even see what's right in front of us? We are surrounded by magic, but you don't really find that magic of the mother until you don't have anything else. till you're down on the ground, face down in the dirt, and then she can come to you. But how can we get there? How can we bring the whole world there without having to go through any more trauma? To get back to what really matters. And that's kind of what the next period of time is about. On the one hand, a massive spiritual awakening into the light. On the other hand, healing crisis of all that's been suppressed. So you're ahead of the game because you've been present with what's been happening with you. And it has not been easy when the whole world wants to go to sleep and is asleep. It's so congratulations, and it's going to pay off so huge. So that's kind of the energy of this fire trine, activating these creative fires. The Sagittarius retrograde giving us this big step back because it's like, oh wait, the suppression of us as the light, and we only can take it back if we do it fully. Like, that's big. It's like, go big or go home. We don't have any choice. It's like, boom. And a lot of the last Owning Your Energetic Field course was this. It was a past life of going where you were pushed into activating your light body to protect you and save you. And it gave great confidence, spiritual confidence to the group. This kind of like, whoa, I think I might have this in my pocket. You've overcome death a million times in this lifetime even. Like, what a strange existence we're in. Because karmically, supernova souls it's kind of like we had the pattern of getting killed for who we are as the light or in past lives. And then we overcame that. You really only can have that happen one time. And then if you're evolving, you're like, no, that's not. Then they imprison you, starve you, manipulate you, turn the people against you, all these different ways if they can't just outright kill you. And so we've had to replay all of that out in subtle technological programming and control, grid, targeting, name it, you name it. Supernova souls have been through it because we are warriors and we're ready to stand up and move this thing forward. And that's a lot of what this is about because right now we're experiencing a T-square, a cardinal T-square, and the cardinal signs are about moving things forward. And we've been talking about this Black Moon Lilith in Libra, a cardinal sign, and having to face where we've been manipulated by dark forces. That's really what's coming forward, where we've made contractual arrangements with entities that are lower evolved from where we came from and don't have our best interest at heart. And we were naive and we did it. And we're like, okay, no, game over, not doing that anymore. Humanity has to see these things, but right now, so the main thing, we talked about this Jupiter square Saturn that's happening on the 24th and the 25th of December. Generational change maker, can't go this way anymore. Coming out of suppression. It's the storm. We're moving forward. We're taking back our Christ consciousness timeline in its entirety. At the same time that happens, we've also got an opposition between Chiron in Aries and Black Moon Lilith in Libra. And right now, for the next few days, for the rest of this week, let's see, through the end of the month, I'll be feeling this. Excuse me. Venus in square to both of these planets. So Venus and Capricorn making a T-square to Chiron in Aries and Black Moon Lilith in Libra. This is so huge. Because it's clarifying the Chiron in Aries wounds. The wounds of Chiron, our deepest wounds in Aries, where we gave our life force away. And that happened through these deep, dark secrets that stole our power through degrading the feminine. And so Venus is in Capricorn, which is authority. Now, the authority energy, false authority energy, Pluto and Capricorn that we were working out was like coming down on the feminine, right? Because if you don't suppress the feminine, then people have abundance, right? Feminine is creation, life force, and you can't control people if they have the creation, life force. You got to suppress the feminine so they can't access the creation, life force. So it's our feminine that needs healing. We have to come back to the mother, before we can get anywhere. And so this is everything that is speaking to here, because Venus in Capricorn is speaking to a new authority, the mother's authority, the old original authority. This is law of the land. They have us trapped in this financial money magic system through maritime law. Are we in a ship Have we been abducted? Because game over. We want our mother, loving Mother Earth, ascending, loving Mother Earth. She's ours and we're hers. And she's in our heart and you cannot erase her. We have the codes. And that's what this fire trine seems to be, is like activating these codes. So maybe this is a precursor, because Venus right now is triggering this opposition that we're going to be feeling between Black Moon Lilith and Chiron. And so it's like the deepest wounds of where we gave our power away through the degradation of the feminine. She was overpowered. And she is the power of, actually. They don't want us to know that, you know. So basically this that last week of December is going to be so powerful. And we just had Mercury trigger that Jupiter square Saturn. And now we're having Venus trigger this Black Moon Lilith opposite Chiron. And it's saying, coming out of expression, taking back our power, getting, cleaning up our relationship with our feminine, and all that is happening. And so this week we're moving into the Sagittarius new moon, which is going to be Sunday. It's November 30th and December 1st in some parts of the world. The activation will be Saturday, November 30th. And it's a very powerful new moon. It's happening at 9 degrees 33 minutes. And we've got all the numbers right there telling us what this is about, especially since we've got Mercury retrograding back to 6 degrees in a fire sign. We've got Mars retrograding from 6 degrees, a fire sign. Wow. So 6 is a number of humanity, but the humanity's God-given right to evolve beyond physical form through the advanced technological understanding of consciousness, right? All that's been stolen from us. And so here we go. We're living this. And this is the new dream, the old dream, the original dream activating within us with this fire trine. So it's like we've all heard of the goddess fires that were put out, representing this fire in the belly, this creation energy, this access, this worship of the goddess. And the patriarchal religious systems put out the fires. And now we rekindle them. But it's not in 1 or 2 goddess temples in Europe or wherever, right? It's like in every human heart, the goddess temple is awakened. Are you ready for this? This is what's coming. The grand fire trine is also a precursor energy of like what we're moving into once we get through this retrograde season. And that's her message. So a lot of this, the retrograde season all culminates with these squares, right? And the 24th, 25th of December. And then all the retrograde energy will begin to resolve. But then we've got Venus retrograde. I mean, a Venus retrograde right on the heels of Mars retrograde is so intense. It's just like we're completely reworking our inner reality. On the masculine and the feminine, and Mercury are understanding of both. And Mercury in Sag, and then Mercury in Aries and Pisces, Venus and Aries and Pisces. So we're claiming back the sacred fire. We're claiming back the new age. We're claiming back our access to creation energy, which is co-creation, which is free energy, which is the golden age. It's abundant. And that's pretty much the message of the mother, saying that it's about resonating, come April, May, when these retrogrades resolve, there is incredible abundance available for you in moving forward in that true path. So this is your greatest skills in practical application, in alignment with your greatest spiritual goals and gifts, and so we've been so far away from this, but the last time we really had it, Supernova Souls, was in Atlantean time, so we're claiming back that too. So in order to get from where we've been, I mean, and this has been the hardest thing lately for Supernova Souls. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. Everything I thought I was doing is just not right. And what's the point? Nothing's real. Everything's just a movie. Like, day after day, I'm just in this strange Groundhog Day experience and feel like I'm getting somewhere and I have to wake up and do it all over again. And this is the trap we're in. But not for long because the astrology doesn't lie, you know? And so so the message of this astrology right now is that we have got to get to a place from the mother. She says, if you can receive, if you can resonate, if you can rest, a massive abundance is coming your way on all levels of life, like abundance you want, which is this peace of mind of feeling like you're doing what you're here to do, working with the right people at the right place at the right time on the cutting edge. That's what we were doing in Atlantean time. So all that is waiting, but can you resonate with it? Can you reach it? Can you? And so the mother's kind of saying, come April, May, when these retrogrades resolve, if you've rested and rehabilitated and healed, you can resonate here, then these great abundant blessings. It's a whole new path. It's a whole new way. And we don't really know what it's going to look like till closer to that. But the Sagittarius retrograde is really getting us bigger, bigger, bigger. Like, oh, I'm bigger, way, way bigger. I love myself because everybody around me is treating me very small. And that's the thing. We can't do it small anymore. We can't do it part way. It's like if we're going to come out of, if you're going to use homeopathy and do true deep healing on the body, you can't come out of it suppression halfway. You got to, it's like, boom. Your body activated in its vital force wants to throw off that disease, and it's going to do it. And that's where we're at on the earth. We're throwing off the parasitic, narcissistic, entities from in our body, and the whole earth. And so this time is really, really important that we can heal and regenerate, rejuvenate, because that Jupiter and Gemini expression is saying it's got to be full expression to come out of repression and suppression. And that's big. Go big or go home. Okay, so we've got to prepare for this, and that's the deal with these retrogrades, but it's a brand new birth of our ideal timeline, the original dream, and so this must be our time to figure out what our role is in that original dream, and it's not what we thought, which is why a lot of us have felt so lost. Like, what is it that we're here to do, and what is the point? Day after day of this existence. That means it's about to change, doesn't it? So just take heart in that, but know that this retrograde energy it just feels like that weird Groundhog Day feeling we've been feeling is going to continue through this retrograde season. Yet, if we know, and we've got that greater picture, it's blooming, it's beginning to blooming, it's beginning to distill. Finally, this Mercury retrograde in Sag is saying it's finally beginning to distill what you're the practical application of your greatest gifts in alignment with this highest timeline and your greatest spiritual and goals, like it's finally landing. And we're going to get a glimpse of it. We get a glimpse of it with this Mercury retrograde, and then that intense square and the intense opposition, fighting for our power back, fighting for our timeline back, claiming it back in entirety. And then we got to go down the other side of the mountain, and that's the rest of the Mars retrograde in the beginning of the year, and then Venus and Mercury retrograde. And that is saying, what is this Christ consciousness timeline? What does it mean to restart and reboot our whole reality, And so we're in, it's going to be happening fast. Because, that's the thing. You come out of suppression, it doesn't go slow. It's like all this pressure's built up like a dam, And all this artificial, mechanical holding back of our consciousness. And those controls gradually falling away. But It's going to be fast because the movement of consciousness is organic and it's got power behind it. And that's really interesting because one of the messages I got from the water and mother is that the water can heal itself. She's just been overburdened, and we're not talking to her and helping her and loving her. We need to tell her, you can heal yourself. But the power of the healing power of the water comes from the movement of the water. And that's exactly free energy. It's perpetual motion, and it's a feminine form of electricity. So now we can see where the power or the false powers have used stagnation and suppression. And so how do we get back into the flow? And that's a big part of the Mars retrograde because Mars is going back into Cancer. So we want to come into the full expression of our light. How do we do that? We have to nurture ourselves. And we have to get into the flow, right? Because she says, you don't know where to go. This is your problem. This is why you're lost, because it's not your plan. You're just one piece of the puzzle. It's a greater, beautiful, amazing puzzle, and your facet is so amazing. But get with the program. Get your head out of your ass. Get with the flow. And so in order to get with the flow, we have to know we're in alignment. And we have to set that alignment. And we have to reset that alignment again and again, But then the flow will tell us where to go. It will move. So if you don't know what's going on and you're not seeing clearly and you're not seeing the next steps or anything, just wait, and something will move you. Be in the pool of her grace. And then it's way easier. You can see how like the impulsive action of the desperateness of our ego allows us to be manipulated in the forces, especially in the things that are playing out in the times that we live in, And so when we can stop and listen and wait and be patient and then wait for that energy to move us, and we know it's just in the right direction, and we don't have to figure it out. We don't have to use the mental power. We don't have to be like, I have to make this happen. I have to figure it out. A lot of people are feeling this. This is what the Sagittarius energy can bring. And so it's a little bit frustrating because it's almost like a glimpse of the dream, and I want to work for it, and I want to go, and I want to happen. I see it, but then retrograde, and so that energy is kind of saying, one, the dream needs to be reworked because it's not what we thought it was, and we've got to get in that alignment. And so that Mars retrograde back into Cancer is like the flow of the mother, so we can be the leaders we really are, and the compassionate leaders in confidence that we're absolutely in alignment with her. We can just show up and shine, and the healing happens all on its own. Very powerful shift in January, right when these squares resolve. And that's about the middle of the month. And that's when that's when the nodes, North Node, South Node, moving into the new signs. So from Aries and Libra into Pisces and Virgo. And so we know we're going to be really cleaning up the Piscean age, but also claiming back the magic. And we do that through coming back into relationship to who we are as healers, the South Node in Virgo, and cleaning up the earth. We're earth stewards. If she can clean herself up and all it takes is movement and flow and the dragon's awakening, are we here to harmonize this expression of all that's been suppressed? To take that energy in our body, to absorb it and to transmute it and transform it and turn it into magic? Because Jupiter and Saturn last time came into conjunctions in Aquarius, air sign, and for the next 200 years, speaking to a new renaissance. And so this new renaissance is this exactly what we're talking about, bringing forward into expression. It's through creativity that we access creation energy and feel permission for it. So the expression of all that's been suppressed throughout time is going to come forward in beautiful art. Is that our inheritance? We've been speaking about this, that all it's been stolen from us, must be returned. Our energetic inheritance. All this power that we didn't know that was ours returned to us. And then what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do once you have your energy back? And that's a lot of this. Like, we got to rest, we got to recover, we got to heal the PTSD, got to get out of those old stories, turn on our, so the fire trine peaks out the 26th and 27th, the next couple of days, and just feel into this. That can you allow, is the first step of this healing of the PTSD, to allow yourself to feel the energy moving through you again. Your body's alive. It's connected to source. We've been implanted with deadness and self-replicating deadness that uses our own body to replicate. And we are taking back, as we take back our body from this nanotech, we're taking back our earth and our world and cleaning it up. So I guess that's the South Node in Virgo too. And Virgo is also the Virgin, a rebirth. And we're talking about this rebirth of our whole timeline with those retrogrades happening in Pisces and Aries. So everything is confirming this. And so what do you need to do for your own individual rebirth? And can you open to these energies? Because we're going to feel the grand fire trine through the end of the month. And that takes us right to that Sagittarius new moon. And so we'll also be feeling the Venus in Capricorn in T-square. And so it's interesting because it's like we're demanding that life force energy back from those control forces that took it away. And the Sagittarius new moon is that absolute rebirth of the vision of what it is we came here to do with her, and to get back on that and to bring forward our piece of that puzzle. And so that's the name of the game. That's what this is all about. So be open to the messages that want to come in the Sagittarius season. Mercury's retrograde, but it's a very different retrograde because we are retrieving the dream and the story, and the greatest story never fully told. And we have it within us, in our DNA, in our body, and it's awakening. And that's what it's like. We're rekindling those goddess fires and accessing this creation energy. And that is, so it's like the flow in our body of energy is what allows the DNA to awaken. The joy, that the coming back into this ecstatic existence. That's what allows the codes in our DNA to awaken into this Christ consciousness, this ideal timeline, the mother's timeline. And step into her love and feel her surround you at all times in this alignment. And you never have to worry or wonder again, about these big decisions, because she can move you and move all of us and move us together. Because what's happening is that if you can see our collective consciousness as water, because that's what it is. And it's kind of like the mother energy, and it's just kind of like there. It's blur, 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 but And then those of us who are doing the work, that want to get in the flow, they're moving the energy, are coming more to center, finding each other. And it's like sparkles on the water. And it's a purification. And just by, in our consciousness, our intention, and listening to the waters, being present with the waters, being quiet, calling each other here to this. And so it's kind of like you can be a sparkle in the purification process, or you can just blub around out there, whatever, wherever consciousness you're at. But supernova souls, we're being called into this center, into this beautiful purification. That's what we're here for and what we're doing. And so the astrology just completely lines up with this. And so just be fully present with these messages for that bigger picture of a glimpse of what it might mean for you to move forward in this new age as a co-creator, back fully in your expression as a petal of her lotus. And so these messages are coming, and it's going to be a great relief, but know that it's like the same time, there's that Sagittarius frustration and the grief over getting so far off your path. We all have it, feeling like, oh my God, and then how can you deserve it if it's mother's path? And that's where we have to heal the shame, the regret, the grief, and just get back with her, get back on the dragon and ride it, and just try to enjoy and bring as much love to every situation as you possibly can. We're in the fires right now, in the wilderness, in the fires, purifying. And so receive that purification, receive that alignment so that you can get into that flow. And thank you so much for all you've done to Supernova Soul, to be here and be intact. And now we're landing home. So the landing home of this timeline, of this information that wants to come, this distilling out of our most beautiful expression of the practical application of our spiritual gifts in alignment with our spiritual dreams. That's coming as a glimpse, right? And yet it's a petal of her lotus that's already written, and she knows what that role is that you have. But this is the same thing as what we've been saying before about that we're not whole and complete. We haven't fully incarnated because of so many different reasons, and we're feeling this now, right? Like as it gets harder and harder to turn down your light, it gets harder and harder and just go along with the program. It gets harder and harder for some people to be around you. And it's hard not to take it personally. But it's like, no, we're standing in truth. We're standing in authenticity. And I'm sorry if that lights up your suppression. It's not healthy. Like if it's too hot, get out of the kitchen. And so this is a lot of what we're dealing with if we're going to come into our full expression and take responsibility for the free energy devices that we are, and just come deeper and deeper into that purity, into the center, be the sparkle, be the purification. And so this is also the landing home of who we really are. So this glimpse of what is possible for you and your path forward is the same as who you really are as a soul, finally landing home, incarnating into your body. Okay, so that's really powerful because it tells us a little bit more about this retrograde season and what we're really going to be doing. Preparing our body to receive the Christ consciousness. The ideal timeline is us turning on our light, like literally. So ponder this. We'll see what happens. I hope you have a wonderful week and Thanksgiving in the U.S. as we come into this energy of connection with the Mother, of this humbleness, this gratitude, this love for what's offered and receiving. So much we find ourselves with living in such scarcity that we're focused on what we don't have, and Mother's really asking us to focus on what is offered. Take what is given, even if it doesn't look like or feel like it's right for you. Like in these uncomfortable situations, we're working out so much, healing so much, so fast. Take what's offered. Take the gift of what's offered with gratitude. Do not expect more, and invite those around you to have gratitude for what's offered. And so what a great time for us to come into that energy together and into connection. So thank you so much for being here, for being you, going through all you've gone through. I hope that you'll consider joining for that Sagittarius new moon activation. That will be on Saturday, November 30th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So I look forward to connecting with you then or on the next update. Thank you so much for being a member, and consider that SuperNova Soul Tribe membership so you don't miss a new or full moon activation. Be automatically added to those events and stay connected to your tribe. Thanks so much for being here. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.